Share Beirut presents Henry Addo, Ushahidi.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Henry Addo. I'm from Ghana, and I'm here to represent Ushahidi. I'm a core developer to Ushahidi, and I'm going to talk about Ushahidi, the platform, the history behind it, and how far we've come for the past years. So Ushahidi is a Swahili word which means testimony, and it's a free and an open source platform for collecting information and putting the information on a map. So people who are viewing the information can actually get to see the location of the information, and those who are responding to the information can actually get to know the exact location of the information. So a little bit history. Ushahidi started back in 2008 during Kenya post-election crisis. And then during the crisis, there were no means of getting information from the ground. And a tool like Ushahidi didn't exist then, and there was no time for people to develop an actual software. So a group of bloggers came together and use existing tools to mash up a quick tool so people can actually report the incidents of the Kenyan post-election violence. So the first deployment of Ushahidi happened in 2008, where they use technology like SMS to allow people to send the information, because by then the media houses and stuff like that weren't open. The mainstream media weren't working. Everything was shut down. There was chaos everywhere. So the default device that existed then was the SMS. And that was the main power of Ushahidi then. So after the post-election crisis, we decided we want to continue with the project, and we want to make it readily available. So when such incidents happen and people want to monitor, they don't have to start from scratch like we did. So what we've done is to actually build a tool that will be easier for people to give information, that will be easier to increase transparency and accountability. So that has been our main aim. And one of our core values is always to be open and to evolve and to engage the community. So some of the social impact that we've had so far is to enable ordinary citizens to give information during, let's say, crisis or disaster, and also to enable NGOs to freely use our software to map incidences based on what they're trying to do, and also to facilitate accountability and transparency during disaster. And then, so like we always have this saying that the software is something that can work anywhere because it was developed in Africa. We all know how Africa has a lot of challenges and farming and everything. So our belief is whatever that we've done in Africa is working, is gonna work anywhere in the world. So for the past years, we have had about 20,000 and growing Ushahidi maps that are all over the world. So we can visually display some of them on the map so you can see it's all over the world being used for disaster management and election monitoring. So in 2010, the Kenyan referendum used Ushahidi to map the Kenyan referendum to get the happenings around it. And then people have been using it for citizen journalism, where they allow people to give out information, and mostly during disaster response. And that was when Ushahidi was born. Our biggest deployment so far has been the Haiti disaster, which I have a video to share how we came about with that deployment and the lessons we've learned so far. And some of the use too has been for social revolutions. In Arab, it was used in in Egypt, it was used to map the Arab Spring evolutions. So I'm going to show a video that talk about how we started with the Haiti deployment and the lessons we learned so far. And these are about 2 minutes.
The past 10 days has literally revolutionized humanitarian response. Never in the past have we been able to deal with this information vacuum that typically exists during the first 24, 72 hours, where there's just no information, everybody's scrambling, nobody knows what to send, how much to send, what have you, really what the extent of the impact is. In large part, thanks to Ushahidi's approach to information collection, i.e. crowdsourcing, we were able to fill that gap. About a couple hours after the earthquake hit, I was basically watching CNN. When I learned the news, I immediately called David Kobia.
So Patrick Meyer called me on and asked me to set up an Ushahidi instance for Haiti. All in all, it took about an hour to throw this on. We became inundated by traffic after that, which we were highly unprepared for. Our servers kept crashing constantly.
So this gave us an opportunity to really learn by doing. And this has been tremendous for us. We've been able to really add features that have been necessary from the beginning, but just haven't been there. How many software developers have a chance to work with the State Department or work with the Coast Guard to tell them, hey, there's somebody stuck under a collapsed wall somewhere, here's their phone number, here's where we think they are, go find them.
It's just so remarkable. I mean, Ushahidi as an African innovation, here we are, at least I am, in Washington, D.C., using this innovation coming from Africa to try to help people in Haiti and leveraging volunteers all around the world. I mean, it's really a flattened world. And so as we started to work together, realizing here's a great example of ordinary people together doing an extraordinary thing.
We had an urgent request for a school near Carrefour Foy, hundreds of trapped children. The SAR team had originally been sent out by UN Dispatch. They'd gotten to the location and realized it was a wrong location. And I ended up being able to give them an extremely accurate location, and a SAR team made it out, and they managed to rescue some of the children that were trapped in that. By mapping relief, but it's really hard and totally heartbreaking to be reading these messages. It's literally life and death situations. People are dying, and the faster you can get people onto the ground, the faster you can get them help. And that's one of the reasons why I'm still here, because it feels like we're really making a difference, and that's what the people on the ground are telling us.
So during the Haiti deployment, it was really hectic, and that was the time we actually managed to push or pull the Ushahidi software and to learn some certain areas of the software that we didn't know before. And we've evolved over it based on what we did during the Haiti deployment. And the Ushahidi platform is a two-way communication tool. It gives information and it collects information. And some of the means of getting the information is through SMS, email, RSS feed, or even ordinary KML file, or Twitter hashtags. And in the same way, it can give out this information in other formats as well, like hard copy by printing, or you can even give it out as an email or SMS, or even a KML file. So the project is actually a free and open source project, which means anybody can actually contribute to the existing code or modify the existing code or enhance what is already there. And the main reason why we made it open source is so people can actually get the tool and make use of it and don't have to start from scratch like we did back in 2008. And during from previous experiences, we've realized when installing Ushahidi, it requires a bit of technical skills. So in order to make it easier for people to be able to set up Ushahidi up and running fast, easily and quickly, we set up a crowd map, which is essentially Ushahidi installed on our servers to make it easier for anyone to be able to start an Ushahidi instance and use it to monitor an incident and don't have to have any technical skills. All you have to do is to just set up your crowd map and just poke around with the Ushahidi platform and you can just manage it. And then we also realized people were asking for so many features that we couldn't even do because it weren't within our capacity. So what we did was to come up with a means of allowing people to actually build their own unique features that they want their software to do for them. So we came up with plugins that will allow people to be able to write their own unique features and plug it into the Ushahidi platform itself. And then again, to allow people to be able to customize the Ushahidi platform based on their brand or their look and feel. So you can actually theme the platform itself. And then to support other languages because it's being globally used. And for it to be globally acceptable, it needs to support other languages as well. So you can actually translate the existing string into other languages. And to make it more easier to use, we've actually built tools for mobile apps like iOS so people can actually submit report and view reports using their iPhone apps. And the same for Android as well. So we have an Android version of the iOS app, which allows you to white label as well. So if you have a unique brand that you want it to have that look and feel, you can actually white label the mobile apps as well. And we have another tool called SMS Sync, which allows you to set up an SMS gateway. So it's easier for you to receive SMS into the Ushahidi platform. Setting up an SMS gateway takes a lot of time. But SMS Sync is an Android app that turns your Android phone into an SMS gateway that feeds the SMS that comes to it into the Ushahidi platform. So some of the lessons we've learned so far for the past years has been that Ushahidi takes a lot of time to set up. So the fix was to come up with crowd map. And then we also realized to have an effective Ushahidi deployment, you need people who can report incidents, who can actually feed you with information. And to fix that, we came up with the various tools I mentioned earlier on, like the Android apps, just to make it easier for people to give in the information. There shouldn't be any barrier to hinder them from giving you the information. So these are the team behind it and how far we've come with the Ushahidi platform. So we primarily work with volunteers. So there are a lot of people who help us in fixing our issues and helping us fix and fine-tune our platform. So there are translators who handle translations for the Ushahidi platform. There are developers who actually write the necessary functionalities. And there are people who test and give us feedback so we can fine-tune and fix all the bugs that are in the software. And there are mappers who helps us to fix some of our mapping issues. Thank you so much. And I'll be having a Q&A section. So if you have any questions, you can catch me up on the conference room.